What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. It's the Wager Alarm live stream. I'm your host, Howard Bender. With me, of course, Craig Mish. And it's Friday, and Friday means we've been studying the lines throughout the week, and it's time to get down and dirty. Golden Nugget picks, got 7 of them in the hopper here. Craig, 5 Westgate ones for Pro. How are we feeling tonight? How's your week been?
My week has been pretty good. It's the same thing now. It feels like it's Groundhog Day all over and over again. This is the hot time, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm glued to the TV a lot, usually Saturday some, and then Sunday the entire day. And over the last few weeks, we've been picking Sunday night games. So I've been locked in the Sunday night games too. I've been skipping out a little bit on Monday nights. If we have gotten to that point and there's really nothing for me fantasy-wise or gambling-wise, I've been skipping some Monday nights. Tuesday, what I usually do is I just have a 0 day, like a silent day, other than hosting my show on FNTSY. Wednesday, the lines come out, both in the Nugget and the Super Contest, so I'll take my first look at that point, go back and take a look at what happened from Tuesday to Wednesday. And honestly, by the time that we get to Wednesday night, I've already figured out. I don't even text you anymore on Wednesday night because I know it's too early. But by Wednesday night, I've got at least 2 picks by Wednesday that I'm really, really feeling good about, and I want to do the picks right then and there. And but I don't, and then we wait. And luckily for us, our first leans have been great for 2 years, man. This is so hard. Fantasy sports is tough. There's a lot of luck. You play against somebody else that has a good week. Where's the skill in that? But when it comes to gambling, it is really difficult to have sustained success over a long period of time and hit anywhere between 55 and 60%. And our first picks over the last 2 years, both in college and pro, have been really good. So I'm hoping that continues this week. I do have my eye on some games tonight, which are interesting. Duke is crushing Virginia Tech, one of my favorite unders of the season, Howard. Fade City on Virginia Tech. They look awful. I think they're going to have to make a coaching change at the end of that season. Penn State, a lot of people...
Great, by the way, because Duke was one of my favorite overs
on the
win totals there.
This is a big win if they go on the road and win tonight. They're up 21-3. Penn State up 21-0 on Maryland. A lot of people liked Maryland going into this game this week, but we didn't touch that one. And then tonight, Cal, who's been one of the better teams in the country, they play Arizona State, so we'll check those games out. Of course, Thursday night, we both like the over in the NFL game. That hit, so we're off to a good start there. And so we got a lot of games tomorrow, of course, and then our games on Sunday. So we'll run through them, and just so people who have been paying attention to the live stream since the beginning of the season, we're well over 500 in both contests. In the top 10, I believe, in the Golden Nugget. We're not quite in the money in the Super Contest, but we're coming off a 4-1 week there.
Yeah,
so
we're close. We're
hopefully after this week, and hopefully this year, we will end up cashing. But this is one of those weeks where ironically, last week I didn't feel that great about it, and the college really didn't work out that well. I feel better about the plays this week, and especially about some of the NFL plays too. A couple in particular I really like a lot.
Yeah, there were a couple that really jumped out to you, that really, and we kind of talked them through, particularly the top 2 that we're going to talk about later on here. But yeah, they jumped out to you. We had the conversation, the back and forth. You hit me with some very interesting rationale. Actually, I used some of it on the show today when I asked my question about one of the games. I won't spill the beans right now. We'll start off as we normally do. Let's talk about the Golden Nugget contest. Okay. There's 7 picks. We're allowed to mix college and professional there. Let's go with the college games first and foremost. The first pick that you actually you threw my way, because this was a big one for you. You liked it. Vanderbilt, minus 6.5 here.
Yes, and this is, I think, one of the better picks on the board tomorrow in college. Vanderbilt, and it's an ugly, ugly pick. Vanderbilt is 0-3 on the season. They've looked horrible, but they've looked really bad against 3 good teams, especially against Georgia and LSU. And I think that, and again, this is an SEC team versus a team in the MAC. I think that had Vanderbilt played better, they would be 15, 16-point favorites in this one. I think the line is off. 2 weeks ago, Northern Illinois lost to FCS team Illinois State. That's one of those teams that they pay to come in and lose. That happened again there. Right. Also, keep in mind, and we've talked about Nebraska. We saw that game last week against Illinois. In Northern Illinois lost to Nebraska by 36 points a couple of weeks ago. So the best player on Vanderbilt is their running back, Keyshawn Vaughn. When we did our fantasy draft, he was a second-round pick. He's gotten off to a slow start this season. Northern Illinois is among the bottom in terms of giving up touchdowns to teams in college football. Believe it or not, Howard, 3 straight games they've given up 4 rushing touchdowns in each game. That's 12 to start the season. That's the most in college football. Also, a key stat for the Huskies, third down conversions. They're second to last, not in the conference, in the country. So I think that this is just a reaction to Vanderbilt getting off to a slow start. I'm not saying that they're a good team. I'm not saying that they're a great team, but they're going to get their first win tomorrow. And I believe that they'll beat Northern Illinois by at least a touchdown. And by the way, 6.5 on this one, not 7. So very juicy there. Give me a 28-21 win, and we cover the spread. So the first pick will be Vanderbilt. I know that could surprise a lot of people, but I think the spread should be higher. It's just that when you lose by 40 to LSU and you lose by 30 to Georgia, the spreads are going to get you knocked down. So I do like this one.
Which is actually something great to start tracking throughout the season when they start playing some of these tomato can games where you're like, oh, okay, it makes a little bit more sense. Next game that we're going to look at here, we're going back at Notre Dame here.
We are.
We're going back at Notre Dame. So last week we took Georgia minus 14. We were in it close towards the end there, but we ended up coming up short, and Georgia did not cover that spread. Mm-hmm. You're taking, do you want Virginia plus 12.5 here? Give me the rationale about this.
Couple of things have changed since then, so let's update this. The line by the time kickoff comes, Howard, this will be one of the lines that will move more significantly than any others, and so I've been paying attention to this one. We are getting 12.5. This line will be 10 tomorrow, so that's a huge swing, 2.5 points. And one of the main reasons why is if you're seeing this across the country. Our friend from Fantistics, Michael Waldo, has been posting pictures. The rain has been crazy in Peoria and Indiana and Chicago and all over that area. They're expecting really bad weather tomorrow. And, of course, any team that's laying huge points in bad weather is a team that you want to fade. That's one of the reasons why I want to take Virginia in this one. The other one is simply put that Virginia is a very good team. They're ranked in the top 15. They're 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 games on the road. They lead their conference in tackles for loss against the running back. Notre Dame runs the ball pretty well. I think they're going to have a hard time against Virginia's front four. Bryce Perkins is Virginia's quarterback. This is going to be the key to the game because he's probably the most dynamic player that is not on Clemson in their conference. So he's a ball control type guy. He likes to run the ball himself. He'll run a lot. He'll pass a little short passing. I think this is going to be a closer game. There are some people who feel that Virginia is going to beat Notre Dame tomorrow. I'm not one of those people. I don't think Notre Dame will probably win at home, but I do think that this is too many points. And in a bad weather, sloppy type game, all Virginia needs to do is go up 7-0, man. And then you're getting 19.5 points in any game. And again, Notre Dame is not Clemson. They are not LSU. They are not Georgia. Notre Dame scored 50 points this season, I believe, once. In their last 10 tries, they did it against New Mexico. Great. Fantastic. New Mexico is one of the worst teams in college football this season. So, yes, let's take those points against Virginia. And you know what? If Notre Dame wins and they win by 2 touchdowns, when you're doing college football handicapping, of course, what you want to do is you don't want to lose too many times on the same team. At the end, you're going to just lose your mind. And so if we lose again and Notre Dame wins, we'll probably stay away from Notre Dame for a while. But I'm not a Notre Dame fan, and I think their lines are always inflated. And now there's been an adjustment. And again, I'm seeing some 11, some 10.5s, and I think that this could end up being 10. I know it's not going the other way by the time the game goes off. So we're going to take Virginia plus 12.5 tomorrow against Notre Dame.
All right. Well, it's funny. You just mentioned how bad New Mexico is. Guess what our next game is? Yeah, baby,
I know what it is.
Taking Liberty.
Hey, listen. Okay, so you picked 2 colleges. Last year, you didn't pick any college games. Let's just call it what it is. Okay, I was picking all the college. This year, you decided to jump in. You made your first pick 2 weeks ago, and you picked Air Force against Colorado, correct? Yep, or am I incorrect? Mm-hmm. That was a winner. Last week, you picked Illinois against Nebraska. You should have had 2 outright winners 2 back-to-back weeks, but unfortunately, Illinois just urinated all over themselves at the end of that game. So you're 2-0. You're 2-0. I know it doesn't matter. You're 2-0 against the spread. Mm-hmm. So let's go 3-0 this week. Go ahead, lay it on me.
Let's do it. Liberty minus 7 over New Mexico. You just said it. New Mexico is one of the worst teams. Now they're going to get that little jolt with Bob Davie coming back from coaching. He had that his little medical thing going on there. But they also
making fun of that little medical thing. We Bob Davey, we really hope you're okay. We're not making light.
We do. He is okay. I've looked into it enough. He's okay. Is this going to be the charge that New Mexico needs? It would have been nice if Elijah Lilly, their star wide receiver, wasn't having shoulder surgery. He's done for the season. He's got a torn labrum. He's out. Let's face it, New Mexico has no defense. None whatsoever. They're giving up. You're giving up 49.7 points per game this season. 49.7. Yes, did they put up 55 on New Mexico State? Yeah, but they still gave up almost 50 points to them as well. This defense is no good. The Liberty Flames, listen, they've got an amazing wide receiver in Antonio Gandy Golden. And this kid is big. This kid's got like the wingspan that you want. Like if you remember, like Calvin Johnson had that ridiculous wingspan. Gandy Golden has that right now. He's 6'4", 220. Dude is a monster. He is leading college football right now in receiving yards and receptions, and he looks spectacular here. I know how bad New Mexico is. I know how many points they give up. It doesn't matter if Bob Davey's back on the sidelines or not. This one is going Liberty's way. They're not only going to win, they're going to cover easily here. I'm guessing at least a 2-touchdown victory.
All right, so there you go. And the line is 7. Is that accurate?
Line is 7. We're giving up only 7.
Okay, and very rare to have Liberty such a favorite in a game like this. But yeah, New Mexico is in a rebuilding type season. And ironically, they did score some points against Notre Dame in this one. Notre Dame a couple weeks ago went up big. And we always talk about Notre Dame, who never runs up the score. Okay, great, fantastic. They never do. I don't know why, Howard. They don't. They just have these beliefs to not do that. Well, against the spread, that's not the way you want to go. All right, so Liberty is the third play. Our fourth play will be Troy -7 versus Arkansas State. Is it 6.5 on the Golden Nugget? I apologize. Is it
6.5 in the Golden Nugget?
Okay, the line is 7.5 right now. Troy's favorite over Arkansas State. I watched Troy last week. A lot of very smart people liked Troy last week. They were 17-point favorites on the road at Akron, and Howard, they crushed Akron. It wasn't even close. And one of the reasons why is their offense is very good. They're 18th overall. You would never think of Troy being in the top 20 in college football. They're 18th overall in the country. And so I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. And it's always interesting to me, and in particular for Arkansas State this week. So their starting quarterback, who has been the best in the Sun Belt this season, his name is Logan Bonner. And if you don't know who he is, that's fine. A lot of people probably don't. He broke his hand last week on a helmet. He's out for the season. He had surgery. So their backup quarterback, and this is where it gets a little interesting because I don't think that this is like one of these locks by any means, but we just really don't know. Their backup, his name is Lane Hatcher. I don't know if that name is familiar to anybody, but when Lane Hatcher left high school, he decided to play at the University of Alabama. And so that was going to be, potentially their quarterback. And then some kid named Tua Tagovailoa comes in, lights the world on fire, and this kid Lane Hatcher says, "Oh man, I'm stuck. What am I going to do?" And he got a scholarship offer. He ended up going in the transfer portal. He transfers to Arkansas State, ironically, and doesn't even beat out this kid Logan Bonner, who's still the quarterback. So this will be the first career start for Lane Hatcher this week. And I'm just going to fade that, Howard. I'm just going to fade the idea of a first start there. He may be good eventually. The coaching staff is saying all the right things about him. But historically speaking, first start, college football player. This is not like the NFL where Michael Vick joins the NFL and in his first game he's running all over the place and he's great. Or Deshaun Watson comes in and he's running all over the place and he's great. And then they adjust to him. Like Vince Young comes in, he's running all over the place. This is not going to happen, okay? It's a little bit of a different scenario in college. You have to be a lot more prepared. I think Troy is gonna beat Arkansas State handily. There's gonna be a lot of points, by the way, in this game because Troy has a hard time stopping people on defense. So could be my third favorite of the three plays, but we'll take Troy -6.5 against Arkansas State tomorrow.
All right, so there you go. We're gonna go with 4 picks. Last week we did. Did we do 4 or 5 in the for college? I think we did 4 last week.
4.
Yeah,
we went 3-0 in the NFL.
We did. That's right. Good job. Good job.
Which is rare. We should not be doing better in the NFL than we do in college. That's going to correct itself eventually. We gotta stick with it.
Or will Howard just dominate the entire time?
Could be. It could be.
Come on. I'm never wrong, Craig.
It could be.
I'm never wrong. I told you that already. I told you I'm never wrong.
I'm never wrong. I'm doing the live stream in a shed. I'm never wrong, right?
I'm never wrong.
I'm in my little garage in my studio office, and I'm never wrong.
96.7% accurate.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? How people on social media can say that they're the best and they're so great? Is like, so what are you on Twitter for? You should own Twitter.
If I was exactly, and I say that all the time. I'm like, if I was the best in the world, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be on my yacht in the south of France, right? Just putting Cristal all over me for no reason.
Of course.
Whatsoever.
Of course. But we're still grinding it out here on Wager Alarm. So those are our 4 college picks. Let's start off with the NFL. You want to go – which order we want to go here?
Start with the first one here. Let's just go down the list. We're taking the Panthers plus 4.5. Now, this wasn't our first choice. Our
Correct.
Next 2 are our first choice.
Yeah.
But I'm just going in the order of the ticket here.
Okay.
And that would be we're taking the Panthers on the road again as a road dog, and we're going to take the 4.5 points, and we're going to go up against Houston.
Yeah, I think that we both see the same thing about Houston, and we both feel the same way about Kyle Allen. I think that that Houston has, over the last couple of years, and I think that will play out this year, they win despite of themselves. They have arguably one of the top 5 players in the NFL in Deshaun Watson, and not a lot else. Of course, Hopkins is really good too, but what you're starting to see is teams are starting to just be like, okay, here's the game plan. We're going to stop this guy Watson, and anybody else will let beat us offensively or defensively. And that is going to catch up to the Texans. So in my opinion, when I look at this thing, I see the Texans as one of the most overrated teams in the NFL. I don't think they have any home field advantage over Carolina going into this week. And I love what I saw from Allen. What did I love? I loved him in the red zone, not making any mistakes.
Right.
I mean, and conversely, and look, Kyle Allen is not Aaron Rodgers, but that is the difference in what you saw last night in covering and winning in the NFL. When you get into the red zone and you're on the one and you come away twice with no points, you are never covering, you are never winning in any of those games. And Allen, 4 red zone visits last week, 4 touchdowns. They're not letting him make mistakes. They have McCaffrey there. He threw touchdown passes to just about everybody on the team. I do think the Panthers keep the game close at this one. I think they have a chance to win.
I think they do too. I mean, the one thing that they need to show is a little discipline from the linebackers. That's the one key thing that I think they need to focus on. The linebackers can't bite on the RPO like they usually do. Like, that's one of the things when you looked at Carolina against Kyler Murray last week, they bit on the RPOs early on in the game, and all of a sudden it was like Kyler Murray ended up with 68 rushing yards. You can't do that with Deshaun Watson. I think that's one of the things that is going to be advantageous actually for the Panthers, is seeing 2 very mobile quarterbacks in a row, and the adjustments they made in the second half to stifle Kyler Murray. I think they're going to go in with the primary game plan when they go into Houston. Not to mention the fact that the defensive line for Carolina is going to mow down this offensive line for Houston.
And there's no running game for Houston. That's corrected itself. Hyde is not a great runner at this stage. Duke Johnson, I mean, I don't even know why they traded for him. I don't even get that one. They've had banged up issues on the offensive line. Look, Houston could win. They could win by 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't see a cover here. I like Carolina with you.
Yeah, I don't. Now, the next 2 games, these are the ones that we like the most. And These are the first ones that we talked about. And here's what happened. So we're taking the Browns plus 7. That might be right. That's going to go against what everybody's saying. But
right.
I said I was talking to a host on the Vegas Stats and Information Network today on the show. And I turned to him and I said the exact same thing you said to me. If it was a month ago and I told you that Baltimore was at Cleveland, okay, what do you think the spread would be? And he said the exact same thing I did. He was like, I don't know, like -3. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So why is it -7 here right now?
It's too much. The line is too much. I love the Browns Sunday. Absolutely love the Browns. Love taking teams that looked so bad a few days ago. And the Browns are coming off that Monday night game. No one in the world would be siding with the Browns on this one. I think they can win this game against Baltimore. And I think that is the point, Howard, is that why have we changed our opinion on the Browns so significantly after 3 games? And why have we changed our opinion on the Ravens so significantly? By the way, after 3 games, one of which was against Miami, which we give them credit for a win and nothing else, let's be clear. Right. I mean, that they destroyed Miami week 1.
Irrelevant.
And it is irrelevant at this point. The second game of the season, they struggle against Arizona. The third game of the season, they lose to Kansas City. They sneak in the back door because Lamar Jackson, on 1 foot running the other way, throws the ball to Willie Snead, and he catches it. And I think the Ravens are a better team than the Browns. They are not 7 points better at all. And I think Cleveland has a really good shot to just get that ship righted. And by the way, if the Browns end up winning and they beat Baltimore in Baltimore this week, they're 1 game behind them. That's it. After all of this nonsense and all this craziness, the Kitchens can't coach and they don't know what they're doing and Baker Mayfield's optioning out of this stuff. A win at Baltimore, they're 1 game behind after all that. And that's kind of normalizing where I think it needs to be. Cleveland at the end of the season, I think they're going to be worse than what people thought, but I don't think they're going 4-12. They're going 8-8 or 9-7. Baltimore's going 9-7, 10-6, 8-8, somewhere along those lines. This is a big overreaction week, in my opinion. Other games, too, there's overreactions, too. So I want to take the Browns this week and get those points.
All right, so that's what we're going to do. We're taking the Browns. We're getting the 7 points. And then
I think, is it 6.5, by the way, on one of them? I think one of the contests, Howard, may be 6.5 and one may be 7. We should probably quantify that.
No, I think they are both.
I think the super contest may be 6.5.
I'm going to tell you right now. Super contest here. The Browns are 6.5.
Okay, so we'll be clear on that. So we're getting 7 in the Golden Nugget, correct? And we're getting 6.5 in the super contest.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
That's the only big, and that's a big difference. A half point is a big difference. That's the only big difference I see this week. So that is our second super contest pick. I'm sorry, Golden Nugget pick. And the third one is in the NFL?
And the third one is we're taking the Chiefs. Chiefs are minus 6.5 against Detroit in Detroit. And this is one where I got to tell you, man, I think I like being locked in on the 6.5 here because I think that we're going to see this line go up to 7, possibly even 7.5 by the time we reach Sunday. Matthew Stafford is banged up now.
Yeah,
all
that's
of a sudden.
bad news.
He's limited in practice.
Yeah, that's bad news.
And once this one starts, creeping up a little bit more, and all of a sudden, all the money's coming in on Kansas City right now, and I think that's what they're waiting for. Is that some of the sharps are waiting for that to go up for a 7 or a 7.5, and then try and sneak in with Detroit. I just don't think it's going to happen, whether Stafford plays or not. I don't know how you go against Patrick Mahomes and what this team is doing. Detroit's defense isn't really that good. Are they improved on the run? Yeah, okay, fine. Snacks Harrison's great in the middle there, but Darius Slay is banged up. The rest of their cover corners are terrible. I just don't know how you stop Patrick Mahomes here. I'm still the fact that we're only given 6.5 is fantastic to me.
Yeah, and I think that we played with fire last week going against Kansas City, and we ended up scoring there. I think at the end of the season, when you look at KC, their overall record, if I had to guess straight up, not against the spread, but if I had to guess Kansas City's record, I would guess 14-2 or 15-1, somewhere along those lines. We know they're going to lose a game eventually this season. If I had to guess their record against the spread, it probably would be 12-4 or 11-5. Well, they already have 1 loss. Is this going to be the second loss against the spread? I don't think so. I think they'll play teams that are tougher, in better shape. And Detroit, to me, is very much a paper record right now. I don't think Detroit is coming back on Kansas City. Also, Detroit in the second half let Arizona come back a couple of weeks ago. Again, either you're playing Kansas City or you're not playing the game. And in this case, we are taking 2 big road favorites. And so odds are against us that we will win both of those, but we'll roll with the good teams this week, which is rare for us. Normally we're taking all dogs, but we are taking 2 big favorites this week. But at least for the Golden Nugget contest, we're very clear. Our picks are Troy minus 6.5, Vanderbilt minus 6.5, Virginia plus 12.5, Liberty minus 7, Cleveland Browns plus 7, and we're going to take Kansas City -6.5, and then the 4.5 with
Carolina
Panthers. Those are our 7 picks for the Golden Nugget contest.
Loving it. Absolutely loving it. Feeling that 7-0 vibe again. I'm enjoying that.
By the way, Duke is up 31-3 at Virginia Tech.
Again,
ugly.
Phenomenal call on the over there for those wins. Phenomenal call. I'd flex right now, but I don't want to rip my shirt.
That's one of those games you have to have. That's one of those games you have to have. Now you're feeling really good. Really good about that. Yes. Gotta be. Yeah.
I am. I told you.
And Virginia Tech, as we talked about on this live stream at the beginning of the season, when you have 8 guys transferring from your school for no reason whatsoever other than they don't want to play there, you knew something had to be up there. I think it's a complete clean house at Virginia Tech after the season.
Sounds like it's.
And we gotta be fading them moving forward. Next week, if I don't have whoever's against Virginia Tech, remind me. We gotta start fading them.
Right on. Listen, I'm definitely down with that. Before we get to our picks in the Westgate Super Contest, thanks to our sponsor, Monkey Knife Fight. If you guys are playing Daily Fantasy on Monkey Knife Fight, if you're not playing Daily Fantasy on Monkey Knife Fight, well, then you're just doing it wrong. Fastest growing daily fantasy site on the planet. At monkeyknifefight.com, you're playing against the house. You're not playing against sharks. No confusing interface, and there's no advanced degree needed to have that snowball's chance of winning. Right now, for a limited time, get the Fantasy Alarm NFL Playbook Pro package for free. That's right, free. When you sign up and deposit at Monkey Knife Fight today, go to fantasyalarm.com/monkey to find out more and change the way you play daily. Now, let's get to our Super Contest picks here, Craig. Okay. Obviously, we are doubling up on the Panthers. We're getting the 4.5 there.
Yes, we are, and we're also going to take the Browns again.
We're taking the Browns, but it's now plus 6.5.
7 on this one. Oh, on 6. I'm sorry, you're right. 6.5 on this one. The actual line right now, the live line is 7. So those of you actually betting our picks, you should be able to get 7 everywhere. I would anticipate this being back to 6.5, but again, you're playing online somewhere. You buy yourself a half point. You always got to make sure you get 7. So that's the second one. Chiefs, right?
Chiefs are the third one, minus 6.5.
And that's and that's where the line is now. You know, some people ask me this question. Because I'm very big on buying to 7. That's a big number. People ask me sometimes about 6. It kind of depends on the situation for me. In this particular situation, where it is a really good team with a very high total, I don't feel it's always necessary to buy down to 6. And given that the total is 54, it's kind of telling you that there's going to be so many points in this game that I don't know that half would be relevant. If the total was in the 40s somewhere, I may advise that to buy that 6.5 down to 6. But in this particular case, I think you can play the minus 6.5.
All right. So there we go. We've got Panthers plus 4.5, Browns plus 6.5, Chiefs minus 6.5. And then our next game here, listen, again, the New England Patriots right now, these are not the same New England Patriots that we have seen. And defensively, I think they're really
best team in the NFL right now.
They haven't given up an offensive touchdown yet. Mm-hmm. All right, they've allowed 3 points. The defense has allowed 3 points. Pick 6 and a special teams touchdown in the game against the Jets. That's what came across there for them. I look at this, and defense has always been Belichick's thing. It's always been his thing. They haven't had a strong defense over the last couple of seasons there. Right now, you take a look at them, and they look ridiculously tough. Buffalo has not impressed me. At times, they've impressed me. I like Josh Allen as a quarterback. I think that I like Sean McDermott as a coach. The problem is, for me, is that Buffalo just doesn't seem to have the wherewithal to play a 4-quarter game. Like, they'll start off real hot, and then they'll fizzle out in the second half, or they'll start off slow, and then they'll show up later on in the second half. And to me, that's an issue there, and that's not something I want to invest in when I know that I'm going up against Belichick and the Patriots here. I think that it's a great unit. I think Edelman is supposed to be back for this game. Josh Gordon is obviously in there. They've got all their weapons who are supposed to be in there right now, and it's Tom Brady, whose numbers in Buffalo have always looked fantastic over the years. Like last year, 2 games there. The year before, 2. It's always that. So, I just don't know how.
Yeah, let's get more specific with that, because this was the selling point for me on this game. Last year, New England beats Buffalo 24-12 and 25-6. So that's wins by 12 and 19. 2017, New England beats Buffalo 37-16 and 23-3. So that's wins by 21 and 20. And even going back to 2016, so we're going back 5 matchups ago, which obviously isn't as relevant as some other games because completely different players, different personnel. New England beats Buffalo in Buffalo 41-25. They've never come close to even a touchdown in any of the last 5 meetings that these two teams have played. There's a belief that Buffalo is better, and I do believe that. If you remember, this is one of the teams that I was very big on going on the over on their win total, and I still like it a lot. They can still, Howard, lose 2 games to New England, no problem. They haven't played Miami yet. We'll take New England -7, but I still like Buffalo for the season to make the playoffs and win 9 or 10 games.
All right. Listen, I'm fine with that. This is the one I was like, I said to you, I'm like, I just don't understand it. I got to play this one.
Yeah, there's the look. If Buffalo, how about this? If Buffalo was 1-2, what's the spread? If Buffalo was 1-2 going into this game, if Cincinnati came back, how about this? If Cincinnati came back and beat Buffalo last week, what's the spread? New England -10, 12,
10, yeah, something like that.
It's a lot of overreaction this week to record. A lot of overreaction. But look, they gotta get the
and I hear a ton of people.
Sides.
I hear a ton of people saying Buffalo. That they're gonna, and like, obviously when you hear certain people say Buffalo, that immediately means take New England. And I've heard that.
Listen, they're right about Buffalo. Buffalo's a very much improved team. They're going to be a very good team in the AFC this season.
I'm not saying they're not,
but they're just not going to beat New England.
They're not going to beat New England.
They're not going to
cover this spread. This isn't going to be like some 3-point game. It's just not. It's not.
Yeah, and Buffalo will have a nice run. They get the Jets, they have games that are very winnable all season long. It would not shock me to see them win 10. But now they're going against the best team in the NFL, or the second best team. Okay, so that's our 4th pick, and then our 5th pick is?
Ooh, this was the interesting one. So we're taking the Vikings. Now, I'll
Vikings
say
just burn my soul.
I'll say this. Listen, you know what? When I was looking at the Golden Nugget and the Vikings were getting 2.5 in that one, I wanted to take them because I just felt that they were going to win it outright. I really do. I like their offense in Minnesota. I love their defense in Minnesota. Mike Zimmer is a great defensive coach. And now he's got Kubiak and Dennison running the offense, which looks ridiculously efficient. Okay? That it's going to keep the games close. They slow the pace down of the games. And I know that even if they were to remotely lose to Chicago, you're talking about like a last second field goal that Chicago wins by 1 point. Like that's where this game is at for me. I still think Minnesota wins this one outright. I think Trubisky is overrated. I think Matt Nagy is still struggling with how he wants to run this offense. Yes, Chicago has a great defense, but I'm sorry, man. Once that offensive line starts bruising on the defensive line, opening up those running lanes and the zone blocking, dude, Dalvin Cook's going to run wild. Minnesota's going to run wild. I'm taking them. Yeah, and I'm getting 1.5. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm just not sure why the Bears are favored in this game. And again, if the Bears, I like to do that. This week more than ever, I think I'm doing this. But if the Bears beat the Redskins 20-17 on Monday night, Howard, what's the line? Even? Minnesota's favored, right?
Yeah.
But because of that great win against Washington, we got to make them favorites. The wrong team is favored in this game. Minnesota should be favored in this game. Look, I don't love Cousins at all. He hasn't played well at all, but I think they have that under control a little bit. I also would not predict that like Diggs is going to go crazy or Thielen's going to go crazy. I think it'll be a close game, but this is kind of where you want to be, a last possession type game. Count on maybe the Bears to have a late turnover in this one, the Vikings to take it back to the 20-yard line of Chicago, and Minnesota kicks a field goal and wins. And look, this is not going to be a blowout by any means, but we're picking 5 games. I mean, we got eventually there's going to be a close one.
This is the game, and you say it all the time. We'll know in the first quarter. Like if Cousins throws 2 picks like super quick in this game, then we're like, okay, we're out.
Then we're dead. But we just want to get to the fourth quarter. Just real quick, some other games that at least just for people that would know the way I would lean or consider. Titans, Falcons, we both agree we have no idea what either team is going to do, and we would rather just not even watch the game. No clue. I don't have a clue what the Titans are. I don't have a clue what the Falcons are. My gut tells me Falcons win. They win big. My head tells me they're going to lose outright, and we're going to scream and yell. I don't even want to be part of that. Raiders, Colts. I think the Raiders have a shot this week because I don't think people understand how big Hilton is to Indianapolis. But at the same time, the current line right now is 6.5. I don't know if in the contest, I think it was like 8. I like the Raiders a little bit this week. Chargers, Dolphins, I want nothing to do with. Redskins, Giants, I don't know if you have an opinion on that. I kind of like the Redskins in this one. I think, again, an overreaction. I don't think the Giants should be favored in any game they play this year. And in going into the year, if I said to you, who's the better team, Redskins or Giants, you probably just said, maybe the Redskins. But they're making the Giants the favorite in this one. Seahawks, Cardinals, I have no opinion.
Actually, that's an interesting one. I was kind of thinking about the Cardinals only because I was going to get the 5 points on that one in the Nugget. Listen, Seattle's defense is terrible. I know what Russell Wilson did last week, and that was fine. That was great. It was fantastic. But I think that this one goes a little bit more back and forth. You've got 2 very mobile quarterbacks who can extend plays with their legs going against, some tomato can defenses. So I actually kind of like the Cardinals here with the points, but not enough to boost in there.
I like the over a little in that one.
I love the over in that. Yeah, that's going to be the highest scoring game.
It's gone up a lot, though.
What's it at?
48 now. It's 46, 47, 48.
If it gets to 50, then ball.
You're out.
Then done.
Bucks, Rams, I don't know. If this was last year, I would take the Rams and not even think twice, -9.5. But I don't like what I've seen from their running back. I don't like what I've seen from Goff. I just don't like this game at all. And then at the same time, if the Rams are up 6 and Winston has the ball and then he throws a pick and they're going the other way, I'm just out on that game too. I do like Denver, but we can't go to them again. They're killing us. Cowboys and Saints. You like Dallas. I like New Orleans a little bit. So I think that we would have probably went head-to-head on that one. I like the Saints getting points at home. Have the Saints gotten any points at home in the last 5 years in any game that they've played? Well, the answer is probably no, but they also
because
had Drew Brees in all those
games. Drew Brees is their quarterback. Now it's Teddy Bridgewater.
I understand that, but I love a Sunday night home crowd there. And honestly, this season in particular, even though we're not picking this game on Sunday night, I've been, for whatever reason, great on Sunday night so far this year and have won a lot. But I would pick the Saints. I know you like Dallas a little bit. So when we come to those kind of conclusions, we split. And then Monday night, we've determined immediately that we're going to have nothing to do with the Bengals and Steelers. And you shouldn't either. with Pittsburgh -4. If you can tell me who's going to win that Monday night game and give me a compelling reason and why, you let me know at Craig Mish or RotoBuzz Guy. Let us know your pick on that game.
Don't even tag me on it. Don't even tag me.
How can you possibly really know what in the world is going to happen in that game with a backup quarterback and the Bengals, they're 0-3, but yet they played good against Buffalo. Pittsburgh, 5 turnovers. They still can't beat San Francisco last week. I'm out on Monday night, and that's it.
There you go. So there you have it, guys. That's guys and girls, whoever's watching there. That's what we're doing for the Westgate. Just to sum it up, we're taking Panthers +4.5, Browns +6.5, Chiefs -6.5, Patriots -7, Vikings +1.5. That's gonna do it. I'm feeling good. Craig's feeling good. We're all feeling good. So there you go. Those are the picks. I'll be posting the tickets up on wageralarm.com so that you guys can follow along with us. And check out the standings as well. Big thanks to our producer, Matt Sells, for always doing such a great job. And big thanks to you guys all for watching. For Craig Mish, I'm Howard Bender. This has been the Wager Alarm live stream, and we'll catch you next time.